right, Warriors bounce back after the really poor performance against the Denver Nuggets. I made purposeful, sarcastic bounce back because it wasn't really a bounce back. The Warriors beat the Wizards in Washington to start their 4-game road trip. Who's shocked? Not me. It's the Wizards. They're bad. They're just not a good team. It's pretty much Kyle Kuzma and surprisingly Corey Kispert, who's played very well. Really versus and Tyus Jones. We all like Tyus Jones here. But the Wizards aren't a very good team. They're on like an 11-game losing streak heading into this matchup. So the Warriors, it wasn't going to be too much of a problem to really, handle business, shall we say. Warriors walk away with the win, 123-112. It was a bad game. The Warriors really sloppy tonight. 18 turnovers. Again, you could kind of get away with it, mostly because the Wizards don't play a lick of defense. Even though they kind of started off the first quarter playing great defense, which is ironic given they're the worst first quarter team and opponents' points per game. But still, is what it is. They played solid. The Warriors just were okay. Chris Paul made his way back onto the floor after missing about 2 months with the finger. Yeah, he got the finger jammed in a jersey and has been out with that. So he made his comeback tonight. We'll talk about that. He played very well. And yeah, it was just a rough game. Not very smooth. The Warriors did really move the rock around. 39 assists, nearly 40. Still 18 turnovers, but they were moving the ball well. The defense, man. The defense that stretch of games where they were playing spectacular defense, it's gone back downhill. Even saw Draymond get just super aggravated. He was like yelling at either Kuminga or Klay or both of them. After, like I've said, I don't know how many times now, Draymond helps out because we don't have great perimeter defense. And especially with Andrew Wiggins out tonight, which I forgot to mention, my bad. Andrew Wiggins didn't play. He's the best perimeter defender on the team. He didn't play. So someone else needs to step up, which means essentially rotations get shifted up one, right? Even though you have Gary and Jonathan, like rotations still have to get shifted up. Draymond kind of just has to get thrown out there in no man's land a lot of the time. And, in years past, the Warriors had capable weak side defenders and help side defenders that can make up for Draymond not being there. But for some reason, the Warriors just don't have that now. Granted, we rarely see Draymond and Trae share the floor together, which I don't know why still. I still don't get why Kevon Looney plays a lick of minutes. I don't get it. He just doesn't do much. But he played 10 minutes tonight, again, taken away from Trace, who didn't even play 10 minutes. So, interesting there. But, yeah, no help side defense. Draymond was furious. We've talked about it ad nauseum. They just don't have quality help side defense. I don't get why. It doesn't it doesn't seem that difficult to do, Like if you're Jonathan Kuminga, if you're Klay Thompson, you should know better. Jonathan, you've been watching for years now. You should know how to play some solid help side defense. Draymond shouldn't have to be freaking out every 5 minutes because goddamn it, he can't go help anyone else out because nobody's making up for him not being there. That just shouldn't be a consistent thing, but that tends to be the biggest issue. And another thing is, even though Chris Paul played great, second highest plus minus on the team, he's still a 6-footer. He's small. So if you're going to run these multi-guard lineups out, which we know Steve Kerr loves to do, that's going to be kind of trouble. They're going to pick that apart. Steph was getting switched on to Kyle Kuzma a ton. Chris Paul's going to get put on switches a lot and get mismatched. And even though Chris Paul's a bit thicker than Steph Curry and can kind of hold his base a little bit better and, hold up better against bigger players, it's still not ideal. You don't really want that. You want bigger guys out there. You want to be able to protect the paint, have long guys on the wing that can, disrupt dribblers, make guys force bad passes or force tough shots. And the Warriors just don't really have that at the moment. And, even a team like the Wizards can go on some runs here. And forget the fact that the transition defense was terrible for the Warriors. It was a meh performance, It was just a meh performance. Not something to be too proud about, but as I've said many times before, the Warriors are kind of in a spot where it's just like, you need to just tally wins. Just forget about the game. Like, we know they're not going to match up well against better teams, but the games you need to win, you need to win, you know? The Pacers are a team that does not beat teams that they're supposed to beat. They beat the really good teams, and then they lose to the trash teams, you know? The Warriors, they're handling business against the teams they need to handle business against, and even though it was ugly and it still continues to highlight and showcase the problems of this core, you know, is what it is. A win's a win, right? So let's get into it. However, Chris Paul makes his return tonight. I was very skeptical about it coming into this. I talked about it in my last couple videos. Again, mentioned it also to preface everything here. He's small. He's small and he's old. You know, Chris Paul still has value, but the Warriors do they really need a guy who's going to slow the game down, who is really small out there, who at this point in time doesn't really give you too much offense, but does space the floor, you know, to an extent, does space the floor and kind of play make. It's like, aren't you already getting that from Podziemski? Doesn't Lester already bring you that? Plus, he's bigger, longer, stronger, you know? For some reason, Chris Paul is going to get a ton more minutes. He played 20 minutes tonight in his return. 20 minutes. Still played well. Again, second highest plus minus on the team at a plus 17. Only Kevon Looney had a higher one at plus 20. But Chris Paul had 9 points on 3 of 6 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3. All of his shots made were 3-pointers. 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, and only 2 turnovers. So still played a good game. You know, not mad at Chris Paul. I've said all season long, Chris Paul has played just like Dario. Both guys have played very well in their time. Obviously, Dario's sort of had a rough stretch this last month, but both guys have been very good in a Warriors uniform. It's not that they aren't playing good basketball. It's that the fit, it just isn't there. Again, the Warriors are at their best, running up and down the floor, playing fast, you know, getting in transition, getting stops defensively, and pushing the pace, and then getting shooters open, and then having those wings that can attack downhill. Chris Paul being out there, methodical, slow approach, wants to play pick and roll, wants to move things slowly and you know, make the best pass possible. And like I said, going into this season, because the replacement was replacing Jordan Poole, who we're going to get into as well. Poole party time. Chris Paul was a big time, like, okay, that's needed. We need somebody that can just slow the game down, because the non-Steph minutes were the biggest issue for the Warriors. The defense was still bad, but the starting 5 was fantastic in their minutes last season. It was the bench unit that sucked, and every time Steph sat, the team it was over. Every game was over, you know? So Chris Paul's need at the beginning of the season was massive, but over the last few months, the need for him has gone down further and further and further, and at this point, it doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to have him out there. But there he is regardless, so he played well in his time, and hopefully that at least continues. Again, he did a great job of managing the bench in his first few months here, so hopefully we can continue to see that at the very least. Moving on, Klay Thompson. I've been very happy with Klay's games over the last few games. Obviously, him coming off of the bench since the Jazz game going into the All-Star break. The biggest thing with Klay, I talked about it before, it's not even the shots made. It's about the quality of them, and it's about his attitude on the floor. His attitude, his energy, how he's playing, is he engaged, you know? And I think Klay has looked very, very good out there to meet those marks. I think Klay looks happy out there, which I have not seen in a good long time, you know? Again, Klay's happiness seemed to fall pretty high on whether he's making shots or not. And now it doesn't feel that way. Now it feels like Klay's just having fun out there regardless. He's not pressing as much. He's taking better shots. He had a couple, not a good one tonight. But for the most part, I think Klay had a very good shot selection. I think he was making the right plays. For the most part, I enjoyed, that's a weird word for this. I liked his defense out there. I think he's been playing a lot better defensively, making better decisions on that end. Again, staying more engaged, getting more active on the glass. I just think Klay's played better, you know? and I'm proud of him. It's difficult to, again, the fall from grace, if you will, that he's had. It's not his fault, and to kind of get yourself to understand, hey, it's time to switch up approach and switch up what I really want to play for. That's a difficult thing to do when you don't think you're ready to go there. It's a difficult thing to do, and so it feels like Klay's finally accepted his reality, and he's taking advantage of it. And I think he's been playing great. And getting into that, 25 points tonight, and that's not even the great thing. He had 25 points on 9 of 16 shooting, 6 of 11 from 3, made a technical free throw. But his shot selection for the most part was really solid. He was getting the looks that we want to see Klay get. Catch and shoot stuff, feet set, not too much extra stuff. He's not having to do too much on the ball. He took a few off-dribble mid-range shots, but for the most part, everything was catch and shoot. Everything was him coming off of screens, natural Klay shots that we want him to take. 3 boards, 4 assists, only 2 turnovers. I think he's playing very well. And I'm very excited to see how this continues to move going forward, because if Klay settles in and really starts to like this role, again, next season, should he re-sign on a very team-friendly deal, I think the Warriors are going to have quite the advantage in that regard, because having a guy like Klay come off your bench and pretty much be one of the best spark plugs in the league, that's dirty, man. That is dirty. So yeah, proud of Klay. Great job. Continue to keep this up. So next, kind of polar opposite of played great, Steph has not had a very good stretch in these last 3 games. Really rough one tonight. Could not get it going. 18 points, 6 of 21 shooting, 4 of 16 from 3, 3 turnovers. He still had 5 boards and 6 assists. Also had a steal and a block. Made a couple free throws. He was a +1, so not a net negative on the floor, but did not have a very good game. This is now a 3-game stretch that he's been on, 3-game slump. In this 3-game period, averaging 18 a game, 33% from the field, 25% from 3, and over 3 turnovers a game. Not really been Steph's best stretch of play. Obviously, he was coming off of just an absolute insane month of basketball. He was playing incredible, so can't keep that up forever. But we talked about it, man. If Steph's not at an MVP level, it's tough. It's tough to win, and now again you've got guys like Klay. Sorry, itch on my nose. Klay, he's a spark plug. He's giving you instant offense, and his shot selection is getting better. So the shots that should be falling are falling more and more frequently. Kuminga had a good night tonight. 21 points on 10 of 13 shooting. Andrew Wiggins has been shooting the ball better, playing a little bit better. They've got guys that can give you some offense, but when a guy who's giving you 30 points per game on 50, 40, 90 essentially, when he's not playing well, it's tough to win, especially when he's the engine of everything. He's the guy that you need to get going to get other guys going. So, Steph in a bit of a slump, something to take note of. This is, you don't want this to be like a 2-3 week long thing. Hopefully this is the last game of it. They've got a few more road games here, and you want to see Steph get it back together and play well in these next few. I think one of them's in Madison Square Garden, so hopefully Steph can kind of have a coming out party there. But yeah, through the last 3 games, not looking too good. Didn't look too hot tonight either. Last but not least, I want to get into Jordan Poole a little bit. I feel bad for our old buddy JP. He has not had a good go of things in Washington, and I've talked about it with Klay. Before this stretch where it's looked like finally he's accepted his reality and he's gotten back to what what made him so fun and likable was just his attitude. He was fun, happy, quiet, but he was having fun out there, and he looks like he's finally back to that spot. Jordan has sort of done the opposite. Jordan looks miserable out there, and I know it's Washington. It's not, probably not too many players would have much fun playing for the Washington Wizards in 2024, but Jordan Poole wanted to go into DC and, try and get them into winning ways. That was what he said going into this season. And it just has not gone to code. Obviously, Jordan Poole, the biggest thing is he's just not a team player. He's a me kind of guy. So Jordan having to adjust to being number 2 on the scouting report behind Kuzma, who has been fantastic, having an absolute career year. That probably hits his ego, but 2, just no one really cares. DC doesn't really care about him. It's not the Bay. He's not some Bay Area icon anymore. He's not going into, Wizards games and the fans are all cheering for Jordan Poole. No one's coming to see him. No one really cares if the Wizards are on. A lot of the stuff that made Jordan Poole tick just does not seem to be there for him anymore with the Wizards. And we can attribute that to his contract or, everybody keeps talking about the Draymond punch. Look, man, if he's still worried about Draymond hitting him a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I don't know what to tell you. Get over it, dude. Seriously. Many people have been punched in the face and have fucking recovered. It's not that big of a deal. Let's relax here. But Jordan he hasn't figured anything out. And he has been coming off the bench too. Washington's benched him. I know he had a 31-point night or something like that recently. I think against the Cavs, if I'm not mistaken. But he had a 31-point night. Looked really solid. But in this game, the craziest part, he was a +8. But he didn't play like a +8. 12 points, 5 of 17 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3, 6 turnovers and 3 fouls. Just not playing well, man. He's not playing well. I don't know. I've talked about it before. Again, those videos are hidden, but my biggest criticism of Poole in game was, number 1, defensive effort, and number 2, he doesn't take advantage of his biggest strength. He plays the opposite way of how he should be playing. Jordan Poole is one of the quickest players in the league, has one of the most devastating first steps. He should be getting to the line with ease, averaging at least 10 free throws a game, and he just doesn't really do that. Jordan wants to sit outside and take crazy-ass threes, do a lot of Allen Iverson-type shit with the ball. How many times do we see him get I don't think I've ever seen anyone average the amount of carries in a season that he does. It's ridiculous. Again, they created that rule because of Allen Iverson, and AI didn't even do it as much as Jordan Poole does. It's just kind of clown shit, honestly. It looks stupid. It doesn't help you win. It's flashy stuff, and it costs the Wizards. And, when you watch this team play, the amount of times I saw Jordan Poole open and Wizards guys just not feeding him, I don't think they fuck with him. Honestly, I don't think they like Jordan Poole. And I can't blame him. Jordan's kind of a douche. He doesn't seem like a very fun guy to be around, especially when he's not happy. So I imagine the Wizards, who are kind of in a rebuild, looking for positive energy and guys to come in and try and rebuild this thing into a winning culture. For Jordan Poole, who's looking out for only himself, I don't think many people are interested in that. And it wouldn't shock me if he ends up on another roster, or who knows, could be even worse. So not looking good for Jordan Poole. Another bad game against his old team. Did not look good out there. What's next for Poole? We have no idea. I genuinely don't know what the hell is up with Jordan Poole. Where could he even go? Who would want Jordan Poole? Who thinks that they could fix that guy? Because it's not like, he's got the effort. No, Jordan Poole does not have the effort. Even in 2022, Jordan Poole would maybe give you a first effort, and then that was it. It was once you beat me on the first move, I'm done. I'm not trying anymore. You take over. I'm going to, maybe run the floor or something like that. Jordan's just he's not looking to play defense. He's not looking to help on that end. And offensively, he's looking out for himself. So, it is what it is. You kind of make the bed for yourself, right? Yeah, ending on a bit of a depressing note, but yeah, that's kind of, we talked about Klay. I said earlier, fall from grace. Klay didn't really have a fall from grace. Klay had his career taken from him. Jordan, that's a fall from grace. That's, he should be averaging 25 a game with 7 or 8 assists and, playing the best basketball of his career, but he just, he's not, I don't think he's willing to get there. I don't think he cares about it. I think he wants to look cool, play cool, and, whatever happens, happens, and he's just dealing with the results. But, yeah. Again, ending on a bit of an awkward note is what it is, right? That's the fun of this, isn't it? Next. Yeah, Warriors' next game is Thursday in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. The Knicks have been playing well, man. Adding Bogdanovic. Tough team, man. Tough team. They've been playing great, so it's going to be interesting to see how they look against the Knicks. Big team, strong, a lot of defensive guys, energy guys, and the Warriors have just not really played too hot against bigger, stronger teams. So, yeah, and Jalen Brunson's a problem. So if Wiggins isn't playing, But yeah, be back for that game. If you like the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below, Warriors fans, Wizards fans, if you're out there. Let me know your thoughts on Jordan Poole, how you're feeling. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Kyle Kuzma as well. I like Kuzma. I think he's a good player. A lot of people would say big numbers, bad team, but I think that's kind of BS. Kyle Kuzma's just got a very smooth game. I think he could, play very well on any team. So, yeah. Let me know your thoughts below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back. Again, I haven't recorded yet with Dominic on the podcast, but I will set that up with him, and we'll get that going eventually. And then Thursday, post-game video there, so be on the lookout for that. And with that being said, have a good rest of your week. See you in the next video. Peace.